fullness of time. Maybe I'd find a way to beat her, and my career would end as it began, with me holding the chalice beside Serena as the crowd cheered. Well, you know what they say. Man plans, God laughs. 3 weeks into the season, I got an email from the ITF. As I read it, I started to panic. That urine test I'd taken back in Melbourne? I failed it. Meldonium had been found in my urine, and in January 2016, meldonium had been added to the World Anti-Doping Agency's list of banned substances. In other words, I was now a drug violator. I'd be suspended from competition immediately. A hearing would follow. Meldonium? I'd never even heard of it. This must be a terrible mistake. Sitting on my bed, I Googled it. Looking at the results, my heart sank. Meldonium also goes by the name Mildronat, and that was something I had heard of. It's a supplement I'd been taking for 10 years. It's used to treat many ailments, including coronary artery disease. Mildronat had been recommended to me by a family doctor back in 2006. I'd been run down at the time, getting sick very often, and had registered several abnormal EKGs. There was also a family history of diabetes. I did not think much about that pill. I just took it. I took it before any intense physical exertion, as you might take baby aspirin to ward off a heart attack or stroke. I was not the only one doing this. In Eastern Europe and Russia, Mildronat is like ibuprofen. Millions of people take it every day, including my grandmother. I had never put it on an ITF form. You're asked to list every medication or supplement you've taken in the previous 7 days, because I did not take it every day and did not consider it any different from the Advil I took for pain. How does it enhance performance? Even the ITF can't tell you, because it doesn't. It seems the officials banned it merely because it was being used by so many Eastern Europeans. Well, if they're taking it, they must be taking it for a reason, something like that. I'd missed news of the ban because it came under my radar, in a long list reached only by following a series of links included in an ITF email, and I hadn't noticed anything different. That was my big mistake. I was sloppy. And now, that moment of carelessness threatened to ruin everything. I could be banned for as long as 4 years. 4 years? That's forever to a professional athlete. A bottomless hole opened beneath my life, and in I went. Everything I'd worked for since I was 4 years old, that whole crazy struggle, was suddenly cast in a new, terrible, unfair light. What followed were days of disbelief and despair. God damn it, I finally screamed, rousing myself. I'm going to fight this bullshit. What's defined my game more than anything? Determination, tenacity. I do not quit. Knock me down 10 times, I get up the 11th. And shove that yellow ball right back at you. This will not beat me, I said. This will not be the last word. To understand my determination, you need to know who I am, where I come from, what happened. You need to know about me and my father and the flight from Russia in the dead of night when I was 6. You need to know about Nick B. and Seku and Serena and a nice old couple from Poland. You need to know the crazy story. In other words, you need to know everything. 1. I've always loved to hit. From the time I was 4 years old. It's the one thing that can fix any problem. You've lost Wimbledon in a frustrating match, and everything that might have gone right went wrong. Pick up a racket and hit. The strings and the ball, the charge that carries through your body fixes everything. Hitting returns you to the present, where the flowers bloom and the birds sing. You've gotten terrible news from the other side of the world. Your grandmother died and there's nothing but a long flight and a funeral ahead. Pick up a racket, pick up a ball, and hit. You did not know the rules change, and you did not read the fine print, and all of a sudden a pill you have taken for years has undone everything. Pick up a racket and hit. It's one of my first memories. I was 4 years old. My father, who had taken up tennis a year or two earlier because his brother had given him a racket for his birthday, brought me along to the local courts where he played in Sochi. A small park with clay courts, a snack bar, and a Ferris wheel, from the top of which you could see over the apartment house to the